Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. A lot of stuff happening on the Arunachal Pradesh front as far as China is concerned. There have been some reports that the Chinese have made three parallel intrusions into Arunachal Pradesh. Although this was claimed by the member of parliament, he has since retracted it and said that he was misquoted. But I think we have the subject matter expert here, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, who will sift the grain from the chaff. Abhijit, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Vetrivel, thanks for having me on.
Uh-huh. Thank you very much for that. And you know why I'm thanking you. But Abhijit, seriously, what is the truth now? Are there three parallel intrusions into Arunachal Pradesh by the Chinese PLA?
I don't know if there are three parallel intrusions, but there's definitely some kind of intrusion happening that's quite deep. Okay, so first of all, since you brought up Tapir Gao, we need to discuss a bit of history out here. So what happened was that when Tapir Gao first gave his speech in parliament, that's when we started looking at that area very carefully. Now remember, because this is the rainward side of the mountain, we had to look it's impossible to detect things under the rainforest canopy. However, we did find things. We found things where the Chinese had come in about 3, 4, 6 kilometers at times. And I put up the photos and published it in print about 3, 4 years back or something like that. The army came out with a story denying it. And then when we looked at their denial, we zoomed in and did a deep search to see if we had gotten it wrong. Far from it, we actually found proof that the Chinese had come and constructed infrastructure deep inside India. Right? So in a sense, the army's denial itself led us to search what the hell this was. And why do we know that it was Chinese infrastructure? Because all the road tracks and everything clearing infrastructure right up to that point inside Indian territory. Mind you, Indian territory that has always been Indian territory, that wasn't held by them in 62, in 59, whatever. We found these intrusions in the building of some basic infrastructure, though it was not major infrastructure. The second thing that has happened, and this was in the Upper Siang region, the second thing that happened was that, Vishnu Shom of NDTV, he found two separate villages. But to be fair, and Vishnu has made it clear, that those two villages are in a part of Arunachal that has been under Chinese control since 1959. Not even 1962, 1959, so before the 62 war. The third part of this is that Tapir Gao, I've sent you on WhatsApp and you can put that up for the viewers, has made it very, very clear what he said. Now, if you check that interview, Vishnu asks him 2, 3 times. He says, sir, are you getting it wrong? Maybe we are mistaking the location, etc., etc. Can you please clarify? And he says, yes, they are inside. This is what I am saying. Now, today, after all of this, after my photo evidence of actual intrusion inside, 3 years after of actual intrusion inside, which the army then denied, and then we proved the army wrong. The government is still persisting in this thing that there is no intrusion out there. When China ups its infrastructure, so the two stories that NDTV did were infrastructure, but that has always been on Chinese side. They are building this infrastructure without any protest from the Indian side. And the commanding officer there, if you remember in an outrageous interview, he said, we have our interpretation of the line, they have their interpretation of the line, and they're doing it within their interpretation of the line. Right? So this is sort of a cumulative effort, it seems, to ignore what the Chinese are doing. And basically in all of this, the Bhutanese have screwed us over. They seem to have reached some kind of an independent agreement with the Chinese. You know, the Chinese, forget India, the Chinese, I can prove to you, they're about 9 kilometers inside Bhutanese territory, occupying a valley, building major infrastructure out there with absolutely no parallel to the Sikkim salient that we have jutting in between Nepal and Bhutan, they have a salient coming down. So there's nothing much you can realistically do out here because I don't know how much the government is going to continue to deny this. Tapir Gao has now beaten the retreat because obviously somebody within the government has read in the Riot Act. He can't be saying things on the floor of parliament. And there at least you can say I was misquoted or misrepresented because my English isn't very good. But when Vishnu asked him 2-3 times, please see the interview and see what he says.
Yes, indeed. And we will add that link as in the show more section of this video. And Abhijit, this is becoming a bit of an embarrassment for the Modi government that they continue to hold on to this thing saying, koi aaya nahi, koi gaya nahi. Now, I am at a loss to understand why the Prime Minister refuses to accept reality when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and then the newly appointed US ambassador to China all said that China has intruded into Indian territory. The
Well,
US has
look,
come out and said it on their own.
I will take anything Mike Pompeo or anybody says with a bit of salt, because they have an interest in pushing India further and further. Not that that's a bad thing, but it has to be based on reality. Now, in the case of Ladakh, it was actually a case of koi aaya nahi, koi gaya nahi. In certain places, they were in by about 100 meters maximum, 50 to 100 meters maximum, which I'm not comfortable with, but technically you can give the government the benefit of the doubt. The problem in Arunachal is completely different. They are like 3, 5, 6 kilometers inside your territory, depending on where you measure those particular points from. 3 is the minimum, 6 is the maximum. 6 is the most accessible route. 3 is the least accessible route as the crow flies. But they are inside. Now, see, I find this terminology that they use, koi aaya nahi, koi gaya nahi, to be particularly deceitful. See, you can say that they are not there right now. I mean, look, the photographs that we have taken, the satellite imagery that we have taken is at one point of time. When they aren't, we saw evidence of their infrastructure, but no actual evidence of continual habitation out there. But that precludes koi aaya nahi, koi gaya nahi, because the government is saying nobody came in and nobody went out. That is patently false. They have clearly come in, they have built things, and you're not even acknowledging that they've built any of this.
So, in conclusion, there is more stuff than meets the eye. And one wonders why the government continues to take this stand that there is no intrusion and there is a clear and present danger. So, Abhijit, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on this. And we will keep you posted in the days ahead on all the developments. Namaskar.
Thank you. Well, well, well.